Let's get the music going. Hey, just 30 seconds here, guys. Just a quick. All right. Let's bring it down a notch here, guys. Let's get the music under control. Turn it down here on my speaker so it's not overpowering me. And let's get to it. What's going on, Vikings fans? I am your host for the Purple and Gold Bar Show, Supreme Overlord, aka Mr. AI Man 3000, aka Mr. Purple and Gold Bars, at your service. And we're at it with another one today. We're doing a post NFL trade line talk. We're going to cover all things Minnesota Vikings in this particular, and kind of go through a few things that I got on my mind, talking about our Minnesota Vikings and how it was the right idea to stay focused and stay strong at the trade deadline. All right, guys, let's get the show intro going. Don't forget, we're on the road to 500 subscribers, so don't forget to like and subscribe. We are going to be going live every day, and we're going to be ramping up our segments daily for the rest of the season, now that the worst is behind us. I hope. Let's get to it, guys. All right, guys, the NFL trade deadline has come and gone. And guess what? The Minnesota Vikings didn't make a splash move, although Kwesi does have a tendency to make moves at the deadline. We've seen that in the last couple of years, so I think a lot of fans were kind of banking on that probability. And, we saw no trades and no surprises, no big splash on our end here. And now some of you might think we should have made a blockbuster trade, maybe for a defensive big name, a kind of go for it type of guy. But I'm here to tell you that was actually the smartest play we could have made. Let me throw a question out for the chat real quick. When was the last time we saw a win-win situation at the NFL trade deadline that actually had impact on a team, not on just paper, not just hype? Drop your answers in the comments because I'll wait. Oh, my TV kind of went live there. I hope it's not picking up in the mic here, but here we go, guys. Let's start off the first segment on why standing pat was the right call. Trading away draft picks right now makes 0 sense as a franchise and where we're planning on moving forward. Over the last couple of years, our free agent additions, let's keep it real, have been nothing more than stopgap players. Guys brought in not to be the future, but to help bridge the gap as we fully enter the JJ McCarthy era. And that's exactly where we are now. That transition phase. You look around the league and teams making moves at the deadline are either desperate to save their season or trying to take advantage of somebody else's desperation. That's not us. The Vikings are in the middle of a long-term build. We're not playing checkers anymore. This is chess. So standing pat wasn't passive. It was calculated. It was purposeful. And that's a big difference. Now, let's talk about the draft capital philosophy going forward as per the Purple and Gold Bar Show. The biggest mistake we could have made at this deadline, in my opinion, was selling off our picks just to look active, especially when we've got a lot of work to do in terms of building through the draft. Let's be honest. Our recent drafts have had some hits, basically just Jordan Addison, and mostly been misses, for lack of a better way of saying it. We've definitely seen the reports. We've definitely seen the YouTube videos from our content creators that are criticizing Kwesi's ability to draft. And let's be real, that still needs some time to develop. Now, the best way to fix that isn't to panic, it's to increase the volume. Let's get the more picks we can get, because that means the more chances we're going to have at finding long-term players that actually grow with our core. On top of that, we should be signing undrafted free agents, taking swings on developmental players, and finding hidden gems, not throwing away picks to chase rentals. We've leaned too hard on free agency the last couple of years, and it's time to stop doing that. You can't buy your way to becoming a consistent contender. You have to draft and develop your way there. So the more picks that Kwesi has to work with, the better. The more volume we have in the draft gives us a higher probability of hitting on some of those picks. Let's move on to the next segment. Why getting fleeced isn't worth it. Let's be real. What happens if we did make a trade? We'd probably only improve marginally. And we'd be paying a steep price to do it. That's not how you build a winner. That's how you build a treadmill team. Something that we've been trying to move on from as an organization. Because let's be real, this Minnesota Vikings is committed to winning. We know that because we are a top 10 all-time in franchise wins. That means that this team is willing to try just about anything in order to win a Super Bowl. And in recent years, it feels like we've been on a treadmill of kind of repeating the same mistakes over and over. We need to change that, and going forward, we can't make the same mistakes. And it started by not making moves at the deadline, and we made the right decision. Now, I'm sorry to say it, but outside of a Cinderella type run, our realistic ceiling this year is somewhere between 9 to 12 wins. If we hit that ceiling, great. But that still probably ends in a wild card or maybe even a divisional round exit. So why would we handicap our draft and our future for that? Now, unless we were somehow able to trade for Myles Garrett, Sauce Gardner, Creed Humphrey, and Dexter Lawrence, I would be like, hey, you know what? Those were the right moves, and maybe we can keep them long term, and that was probably the best trading situation possible for us. A truly game-changing trade deadline. But let's be honest, guys. That only happens in Madden when you override trades, not in the NFL. So instead of getting fleeced and just saying, look at us, we did something, we stood our ground, we made the right choice, and we continue to play chess when others are playing checkers. That's the way to real growth, real development, and building something long-lasting. Something that isn't going to be just a couple years here and there and falling apart like we see the Detroit Lions do every 10 to 15 years or so, right? We don't want to become a trash organization like that. We want to continue being a winning organization, and that's why we are working the way that we are now. So what's next for the Minnesota Vikings? Clearly, we still have some needs. We could use another cornerback, a safety, maybe a linebacker or run-stopping defensive lineman to balance out what we've sacrificed in free agency. But here's the thing. We don't need to give up assets, especially draft assets, to address those needs. We need depth, really. Outside of, but arguably, I can kind of slide on saying somebody that has a strong run-stopping skill set. Maybe something like that. Yeah, I could see the potential for something big and maybe making a little bit of a splash for that. But outside of that, all we really need is depth to kind of solidify what we got going on just in case. And we're entering that part of the season where teams start restructuring their rosters, practice move squads, injury replacements, salary dumps, right? So the waiver wire is going to look pretty juicy in the next couple weeks, maybe even just a couple days. And that's where we need to look to fill in these depth issues. That's where smart GMs like Kwesi Adofo-Mensah can pick up value for our team going forward. We can grab depth pieces, maybe even developmental projects that aren't quite working out on other teams and just struggling to find a spot outside of the practice squad or, third or fourth string, right? That's where we can capitalize and really make a splash that's actually meaningful, especially when it won't cost a ton financially. So that's what I think we should do in order to keep improving and moving closer and away from this transition period and firmly into the JJ McCarthy era. We're not rebuilding, guys. We're reloading, and that's a big difference. Now, in defense of my man, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, I really like him. I am an out-of-the-box thinker, okay? You guys know that because I haven't been saying or echoing the same things that everybody else has been saying. I try to come up with optimistic, outside-of-the-box, realistic, and objective takes for you guys that I know nobody else is going to give you because nobody else thinks like me. I can guarantee that. I've been told that ever since I was in public school. So I'm going to bring that asset to you guys so you guys can kind of paint a different picture and maybe save you a little bit from the overwhelming negativity that we see in the NFL. And also the negativity that we have in our everyday life. Maybe save you a little bit, That's why I want you, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. We are going to be posting up. We're going to be ramping up our efforts over the last part of the season when it's going to get good. We're on the road to 500 subscribers, and with your help, I think we can get there by the end of the calendar year. Thank you so much to all the new subscribers. A big jump in the last couple days, and I really appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, let's talk about Kwesi. Because I see the fan base, some of y'all are already calling for his job because he didn't make a move or the draft picks haven't been what it is. And maybe he's too willing to just do what the owners and what the coaches do instead of just standing strong and being a cookie cutter GM. But let's be real. We didn't hire Kwesi to be a cookie cutter GM. We hired him because he doesn't think like every other average, mediocre, or even borderline good GM out there. We brought him in to bring in a different style, a different mentality, a different way of thinking. And now, because he's thinking differently and doing the thing that we hired him for, you guys want to panic and lose faith? Ooh, guys, settle down. Please. Relax. Stay focused. Believe in the process. If this week's game against the Lions didn't give you confidence in Kwesi and what this team is building, I don't know what will. Because all of a sudden, our defense came alive all our players that people have been complaining, like Hargrave or Allen, made a significant impact in this game. And it's as if Kwesi, KOC, and Brian Flores had a plan on how to build this roster. And it seems to me like it's even more evident that they wanted to build a team that can dethrone these pretenders, these Detroit Lions. Because let's be real, they're just the rerun kings. It's just a matter of time before they fall back into a last place schedule. So we're building to make that happen a lot faster and give us the ability to contend in the playoffs. Yesterday or Sunday, we were the healthiest that we've been all season. And I think that metaphorical puzzle that we're week to week adding pieces in is starting to come a little clearer. And I hope you guys are starting to gain some confidence in the vision that Kwesi, KOC, and Brian Flores have. Because if you didn't like that win, especially when we didn't even play our best, especially in the words of our future franchise quarterback, potentially top tier quality quarterback, and JJ McCarthy, his words, we left a lot of meat on that bone. A lot of meat on that bone, and we still embarrass these Lions. Guys, gain some confidence. Put away these feelings. I know a lot of our fan base is jaded because we've come so close so many times and never been able to break through. And you guys are sick and tired of just winning. You guys want Super Bowls. I get it. But let's be patient. The time is coming. Trust the process. Trust our vision that we clearly don't have insight, knowledge, or we're not privy to knowing that, because that's what's giving the confidence in this team. So stay cool, stay calm, stay chill. The best is yet to come. Now, let's give a couple closing thoughts, final thoughts. Yeah, we didn't make any trades. There's no panic here. There's no problem. It's about building the right way, not chasing headlines. The Vikings are setting themselves up to build around JJ McCarthy, Justin Jefferson, Christian Darrisaw, and the rest of our young, strong core for years to come. Isn't that what you want? Do you guys want to just be the rerun kings like the Lions and just come up with a good team every couple of years and then fall apart when the time comes? Because we don't have a quarterback that can actually elevate in the playoffs like Sam Darnold or Daniel Jones is going to remind people when we hit that part of the season? Or do we want to build around a kid that's a clear winner? A guy that has that mental fortitude that Sam, Daniel Jones, or Jared Goff doesn't have. I don't know about you. I don't want to be stuck with a quarterback that puts up a lot of great stats in the regular season and then falls apart and never, ever accomplishes anything in real, meaningful football in the playoffs. I don't want this generation's Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan, whichever great quarterback that you can pull out from NFL history that's all stats and nothing to show for it. I want to build around a kid that is a born winner at every level, every single level of football that he's ever played. Because that tells me that he has the right mindset, the right delusional confidence in himself, that secret sauce that makes us say, hey, he's him. That's why number 9 is him, guys. He is our future. He is going to show every single one of us why he was the best draft pick in that draft class. Now, let's stay focused, guys. Let's stay on our mission. And I think you guys are going to be pleasantly surprised. This last third of the season, I've been saying I think is going to be this part where we get the healthiest and we start looking the most consistent and looking like the team that all of you guys had such high expectations for. And hey, maybe, just maybe, we squeak into the playoffs. Maybe, just maybe, JJ McCarthy gets a great amount of playoff experience, setting him up for a massive year 2 step. And hey, he is a winner. And I would not be surprised if he took us on a Cinderella run, because sometimes all he wants to do is win, baby. So let the team cook. Have some patience. We clearly don't know what the vision is, what the game plan is, which is why our fans, our content creators are sometimes wildly off the mark. Except for me. I'm not wildly off the mark most of the time. I'm more or less pretty spot on. Last year, I basically predicted the whole season, including what Sam Darnold would become. This year, up to right now, it looks like I basically predicted what was going to happen this season. A roller coaster season, a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type of season where we're going to get some tremendous highs like the Detroit Lions win. And we're going to have some super, super bad lows like the Chargers game. And a whole bunch of ugly wins and ugly losses along the way, because that's what happens when you roll with an extremely talented roster that can carry just about anything, any quarterback to a good solid 9, 10, 11 wins, maybe even 12. I said, this team is more than capable of carrying JJ McCarthy through his growing pains. And we saw growing pains on Sunday against the Lions. He was throwing balls a little bit behind our receivers. He missed a couple plays. He tried to hand off to the wrong side. Oh, typical rookie stuff. He's supposed to look like that. He's supposed to struggle at times. But yet again, just like the first flash that we saw for him, we had another historic flash game, whatever you want to call it, from JJ McCarthy. He is the third quarterback behind Dan Marino, Patrick Mahomes, to start his career as a starter with 2 road playoff wins against division opponents. Ooh, let me say that again. The third behind Dan Marino, Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer Patrick Mahomes. And now, JJ McCarthy to win 2 playoff divisional road games to start his career. Ooh, man, if that doesn't get you guys pumped up, I don't know what else will. Guys, the best is yet to come. All right, guys, that's everything for me today. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. It's time to go hit the gym. It's time to cultivate another hot take review. I'm going to get that thumbnail and live listed here so that when I come back from the gym, we can have a good laugh at Mr. Colin Cowherd, because, ooh, man, this man is on fire, and not in the good way. The dumpster fire kind of way, because, man, his takes are hot garbage. And you know what? For the majority speaking, the mainstream media, that's what you're going to get. Because guess what? They're a production team, and they have to be making things constantly. And so they're not going to take the time to take the deep dive look, the outside of the box thinking that I do on this channel and a lot of our Vikings content creators do. We put a lot more effort into our thoughts, into our segments, into the ideas that come around before we make our predictions and analysis. That's why Colin Cowherd looks like a complete bonehead literally week after week after week. Because it's all superficial takes that are just nonsense designed for clicks, not for substance. And that's what you're going to get here. So don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, guys. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I love every single one of you. I don't care what fan base you're from, even you Detroit Lions fans. I honestly just do want the best for your team and you specifically. Ideally, you'd find a better team because I'm just kidding. I'm just trying. I can't help myself sometimes, guys. Honestly, though, I want the best for every single one of your fan bases, regardless of which fan base you're from, except for when you guys are facing us. I want you guys to have an awful day out there, outside of injuries, of course, because I do not want to see injuries whatsoever. It literally drives me insane when I see injuries, especially how much they continue to pile up year to year. Oh, don't get me started on that, ladies and gentlemen. But thank you so much for joining me today, guys, on the Purple and Gold Bars Show. I am your host, Supreme Overlord, a.k.a. Mr. AI Man 3000, a.k.a. Mr. Purple and Gold Bars, at your service. Thanks, guys. You guys have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll be back with another segment just a little bit. Take care, guys.